time has moved on, I just found that this is a fantastic way to teach people about Indian art and culture. From my own performance's point of view, Bollywood dance has various facets to it. If you want to be a good performer, basic skills that you would definitely need. You need timing and rhythm in your body, definitely, because that's your basic skill any dancer requires. So you can interpret the music in the right way, with the right beats, etc. Second thing you need is open, expressive moves, because restricted moves don't work. In salsa dancing, it's more little spins and things, so it's okay. Your hands could be quite close to yourself without sometimes opening up. Whereas in Indian dance, it's quite open movements. Yeah, you need positions and alignments in your dance. So you need to ensure that every single move that you do is open, expressive, and clear, concise, and precise. And you complete those moves. Because otherwise it's easy to do this, yeah, like this. You're just dancing, and that's not clean. But that is clean, because you're finishing the movements off. The same movement, but just cleaner. Third thing you have to remember when you're dancing, you have to have energy, passion. If you don't have the energy and passion behind it, it looks very mechanical. It really does. Because you can learn a move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks too mechanical. Or it just doesn't do anything. But if you're kind of really into the dance and you're using your eyes and you're really opening up the moves, that's different. Now you're beginning to work with the audience. You're flirting with the audience. You're commanding respect from the audience, and you use your facial expressions to do that. But at the same time, you know, put energy and passion into your dance. When you get people tapping their feet and they're watching you and they're kind of moving with you, then you know you've done your job well. Or when you move someone, let's say they're very expressive and they use their eyes and they look at people, and you suddenly get really connected and they're pulling you and drawing you into their performance, then you know you're doing your job right. You know, because that's what performers are about. You're passing on energy, you're helping to interpret music, you're helping to interpret lyrics, and you're allowing an audience to connect with you. So I think that's also a very important part of your performance. It's not just about moving around. Third thing, or fourth thing, as I mentioned, was the facial expressions. With Bollywood dance, you definitely need to get your acting and your miming there. I have seen Western performers now perform to Bollywood dance, and it looks amazing when they mime. If they didn't mime and they mimed, the miming looks 10 times better, because it's not just about its performance, it's about the facial expressions. So that's something very interesting about Bollywood dance. The fact that it's not just about just eye movements, it's about miming, it's about everything. So you have to have the package to be a good performer. And finally, as we do this, you need to make sure all your hand gestures are right. What I mean by that is, if you've got classical hands, the actual positions need to be right. You can't do this as you're doing a classical hand. You need to make sure it's in the right positions. You need to make sure if it's Kathak style, then you're using Kathak hands, etc. If it's Bhangra, then you're using the shoulders, and the gestures are not like this. You're keeping your fingers back, or using your hand gestures and wrists properly. So that's the other, I would say, detail. So when you're doing your performance, it's not just about moving around and traipsing around. It's about making sure the detail's there, polishing is there, timing is there, energy is there, facial expressions are there, interpretation is there. And as time has moved on, as I've seen dance progress in the industry, I have found that Bollywood is now becoming very fashionable and very trendy. I remember '97, when we set up the dance academy, I used to speak to journalists, and I said, hey, I've started up this Bollywood dance academy. Would you like to cover a story or come along to see my dance classes? And they were saying, Bollywood? What's this Bollywood? And I'm going, well, and I would start the whole process. Well, Bollywood refers to the Indian film industry, and the word Bollywood comes from the word Hollywood. And the reason they say Bollywood is because it comes from Bombay. They've taken the H out, put the B there. I know it's very original, and very unique. I mean, they should have come out with something else. I know that a lot of the Asians and the Bollywood stars prefer to call it Indian talkies. So the Bollywood industry is known as Indian talkies by them. But for us, the Bollywood, it's a slang word. So I had to go through the whole explanation of what Bollywood is, etc. Now, the same journalists call us or call me and say, hey, honey, are you working with Shah Rukh Khan on any other projects? Are you working with any other Bollywood stars? Are you doing another project with Aishwarya? They know the names. They know what Bollywood is. Nowadays, I have seen a progression of how Indian art and culture, Bollywood, has been incorporated in mainstream society. For example, Peugeot advert. When you look at commercials, they've started using a Bollywood theme. Long time ago, people mainstream would have never thought about bringing Bollywood to sell cars. And nowadays, you're using Bollywood to sell products and services. It's amazing. As time moved on, museums like the V&A and other local museums like the Redbridge Library or any other places, they started holding Bollywood exhibitions. People would literally go out there to know more about Bollywood, read the posters, read about the history of the Indian film industry. So things like that were being brought to the marketplace. Then there came musicals like Andrew Lloyd Webber's Bombay Dreams. Again, Bollywood was used in the choreography in a West End production. I think Andrew Lloyd Webber did a lot to bring Bollywood to the mainstream markets, because I know that I was working very hard in bringing Bollywood there, but the Bombay Dreams and the profile and the marketing behind it all really did help a lot. And it was very good for us because we had been established for quite some time by then. So anytime people wanted Bollywood, they would come to us. Then we started including Bollywood into music. So Britney Spears, or then we started using Bollywood into music. So for example, Britney Spears, Madonna, even Knight Rider, if you remember Punjabi MC, they started bringing in Indian music into mainstream charts, music charts. Even myself, I was involved with Gareth Gates' Spirit in the Sky. And again, they used Bollywood dancers to promote Spirit in the Sky, which went to #1 in the charts. So you could see that Bollywood was really selling. It's now not just something in the side. It has started to become an integral part of society, I feel. Bindis, fashion, tattoos, costumes, even the tops that people wear nowadays have Indian embroidery. A lot of the Indian fashion is starting to be incorporated in the mainstream markets. And it's not being worn by and appreciated only by Asians. It's being appreciated by people from all cultural backgrounds, which again is a fantastic thing. That's what my work is about, bringing people together. And if that's the kind of way, if that's a topic we can use to help people appreciate Indian art and culture, well, why not? Then there was a time where we had to do a lot of educating. We educated a lot of schools in what Bollywood and Indian art and culture was about. So again, in this country, we feel that people didn't know much about Bollywood in schools. Schools weren't appreciating how big or how popular Bollywood could be. So I remember quite a few years ago, about 2002, I believe, around that time, I did a tour around 22 schools throughout the UK. It was a free tour. I just put some time, it was my voluntary time, and I really was passionate in wanting to bring Indian art and culture into schools through Bollywood.